Hi guys, I'm Ryan Houston and welcome to my fly tying channel. This channel contains hundreds of different videos covering all manner of different patterns, techniques and styles of fly tying. There's something here to suit almost everybody, so hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, let's get on with the show. Hi guys, so we're going to tie a variant of a fly called the Jones Special. So this is a salmon fly, Atlantic salmon fly from across the big pond. So I suppose Canadian and possibly American rivers. So this is it's an unusual fly in that it's white, which is slightly unusual for our colour tastes over here, but it's something that caught my eye. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my silver oval. This is a 1/0, by the way, up-eyed salmon hook. I'm going to tie with a white thread, and I've tied this back to where I'm going to have the tag, or butt, or whatever you want to call it, tag. And then I come back over to the point where I want to finish it, then I come back to halfway, and then I'll come back to about a quarter way, and then come back to the end, and that will introduce a slight taper to the underbody and allow me to build a little bit of shape to this tag. So then wrap the silver oval, hopefully in touching turns. Quite a long tag on this one, but there's some thinking behind it because it's going to, and especially with the building it up slightly in thickness here, is because the body of this fly is going to be a pearl flat braid, so it adds a bit of thickness to it. So we're just going to take that up to the return eye. So the thinking here is that we get up to there till we get tight to the return and then fold it back, and it helps just to take a little bit of the step out of the return eye. So we're going to tie in some more silver oval as the rib of this fly. So I'm just taking it on the far side, take it back down to the tag. Then I want to take a bit of like a pearl flat braid, and this is going to be the body. So take it up to the return eye as well, and then just tie it in place. Right back to the tag, and then wrap over it again up to the front here. Then we want to take the first turn and just make sure that you're as tight to the tag as we can, and then wrap it forward. You just want to keep the tension on it because it is so flat and bulky. So each turn I'm pulling tight, wrap over, set my finger on top of it. That allows me to come in and catch this over again, and I can pull it into itself nice and tight. Get it up to the return here and tie it in place. And then I'm going to wrap back over it a little bit because I'm actually going to tie back onto there. I need a bit of room for the head on this because it's slightly unusual. And then we take our rib and come forward. Tie that off the front. So this fly I'm tying is a slight variant of it in that the The original one I've seen has bucktail as the wing, whereas I'm going to use fox and tanuki or raccoon dog for whatever it actually is. I think it's a raccoon dog. So I'm going to use a little bit of white Arctic fox tail here. I'm going to take a bit that is nice stiffish yard hairs and then pull out the shortest of the under fur. I'm going to set that up so that it is maybe till the bend of the hook, and trim that off to length, set it in place, tie it down. So that's like an underwing. And then I'm going to put a little bit of like a pearl angel hair over that. Set it on top, tie it in place, fold it back, and then I just want to cut that off, sort of like a little bit of taper. I don't want it block ended. Top wing on this here I'm going to use, so I said the original has the back end of a standard white bucktail, so it would have used this sort of browny hair here. I'm going to use this, which is like a tan coloured raccoon dog or tanuki or whatever it is. I'm going to cut a bunch of that out. Get rid of the very short underfur. I do want some of the underfur in this fly. So I want to create a slightly longer wing so that when the bucktail version of the fly, it would have it's probably about to the length of the wing would be to the length of the bend there, whereas with this I want to have the underfur creating a little bit of taper, and then the yard hairs are sort of coming out here for just extending it a bit, but it's not, because they're very, very wispy, you don't end up with an overlong fly. Tie that in on top and trim it off. Just going to get a little bit of wax onto the tie-in thread here, and then just bind that down. And then I'm going to comb that wing out. I'll just marry it all into itself and give you that sort of teardrop type shape we're trying to achieve. Okay, so move on to the hackles. So this fly has two hackles, and the first one I'm going to use is a blue-eared pheasant hackle. This is a heron sub, long wispy grey hackle. I'm just going to double it over. And then when I have the tip, I'm just going to tie it in across the last little bit of stalk that's available with that tip. Fold it over and tie across the fold. And then we're going to put on a couple of turns of that. So the hackles are quite short in themselves in the stalk, so generally you don't get a huge pile of turns. This is actually quite a big feather, which is slightly unusual. So we could have got more on, but then you might end up with an overdressed fly. And we'll just, again, a little bit clingy, so we just comb it out. And remaining on this fly, we have a silver pheasant hackle at the head, and then jungle cock. So you could either put on the hackle and then put on the jungle cock, or do what I'm going to do here, which is to put on the jungle cock first and then the hackle afterwards. And it's something that I utilize a bit, especially when I'm using two different colored hackles at the fronts of flies. and it just, I think it supports the jungle cock in between the feathers as well, gives it a bit of shape, or hold shall we say, strength. So I'm putting on 2 feathers, one either side here, and just checking across the top of it here to see that they're even in length. And then I can just use the stalks to change the angle of them. So if you pull the stalks down, the feathers will sit up a little. When I'm happy with it, I'll just fold that back and tie over it, and that means they won't pull out. And then we're going to put on some turns of a silver pheasant body hackle. So I'm just going to take one of those and double it over on itself. And then I'm going to snip it off a little ways into the feather, because I don't really want the really short stuff here. I don't want it to get overly heavily dressed, but I still want the fibres that I'm using to be slightly longer, sort of to keep with this kind of spay type feel of this fly. So snip it off, move up, and again maybe 2 turns or so of this feather. Tie across it, fold it back, and tie across the folded stalk, and then there's no way that's going to fall out. And that is the time. We just need to do the head. So I'm just going to take the brush and brush out the hackles, and you can see we have this nice sort of flowing type fly. So head is white with a blue stripe in the middle of it. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to use a very fine blue holographic tinsel. So I'm going to tie that in. And then I'm going to build the head up. So how I'm going to build the head up is I'm going to use super glue on my thread. So I take a bit of super glue, white thread, run the glue on maybe 4 inches or so of the thread, and then starting at the front, I'll just hold all this back, and then I'm just going to start to create the head shape. Now the super glue that is on the thread is still wet, and therefore it creates like a little bleb or bed of super glue. Then that will allow me just to hopefully get on a couple of turns width of the blue hollow, and then I'll tie over that. So I'm now tying behind that bar. Trim it. Same again. Take my super glue, 2 inches maybe of the thread, hold all my hackling back, and then I'm just going to create the white band behind the blue and half hitch that to finish it. Okay, so we had to allow the super glue there to dry a bit so that we can finish the head off. So all that remains of this is to use a clear varnish. Now if you want, you can use that UV cure, but I'm not a huge fan of that, so I'm just going to use Sally Hansen's clear hard as nails, it's nylon. Put on a blade of that to seal it, and then just if it needs more, just depends on how it dries for shape, we'll do that. But that's our fly tied, so that is the Jones Special variant, shall we call it. So hopefully you like the video, hopefully you got some ideas from it. If you did, give us a like, subscribe, Tell your friends, check out all the other videos on the channel. Until next time, tight lines, and thanks for watching.